Okay guys, so in today's video we're going to talk about Aurora Cannabis. So this is a stock that I've been talking a lot about in recent videos, and I just wanted to tell you guys, kind of update you on what I've been doing with the stock. So after we had that ridiculous major stock market crash, we saw the price of Aurora Cannabis dip down to 59 cents. And now it appears like we might have found some sort of bottom ground here. As we can see here, on March 12th, the stock was at 64 cents, and then it was at 60 cents on March 18th. So it looks like there's a lot of support, basically at around 60 cents, something like that. Now, the stock did dip. Uh, it did dip. I believe it did dip a little bit below 60 cents, a tiny bit of time, but basically we're seeing support at 60 cents. So what I did was I went into my Robinhood account and I decided to add to my position. So I'm going to show you guys exactly what I've been doing with Aurora Cannabis. So I told you guys that I was really bullish on the stock long term. So what I first did is what I like to do with a stock like Aurora Cannabis is I like to just get a position in, but since I saw that the stock was continuing to be patient and kind of just wait position. So I bought my first, and I'll show you guys my history here on Robinhood. So as you can see here, I decided to add to my position today once I felt like that bottom was reached and I felt like the buyers were coming into the stock at around 60 cents or so. That's when I decided to add to my position. So I just want to show you started initially and then kind of all the steps I took. Okay, so my first buy actually was for $4 back in October 8 2019, and I kind of just slowly bought shares as to go down. As you can see here, one share here, two shares there, four shares there, one share there. And then I sold some of the stock because the price kept going down, so I sold some of that stock to do some things with stock options, something like that. Then I continued to buy again, and basically for the last like couple months or so, I was just buying a share here, a share there. Anytime I could get a little bit of extra money, I was just accumulating some shares. And this is what I like to do, guys. I like to slowly build a position over time as I continue to get my average price down. So then when kind of the coronavirus thing news started hitting, I didn't buy in this account for some time. I didn't really have any, I wasn't adding money to my Robinhood or something like that. And then what happened is that when the stock reached that bottom, that's when I ran in and started to buy heavy. So as you can see, I picked up 100 shares at 68, another 100 shares at 68, and then I bought 200 more shares. So guys, like some investors, they like to basically buy thousands of shares at once. Me, I'm a little bit different because I have my total portfolio is probably around 15 to 20 stocks. I like to slowly build up my position over time. I'm more likely to pick up a share or two a day than rather buy thousands and thousands of shares at once, because I feel like if you're spending like if you're buying like thousands of shares at the same time and you buy too expensive, it can really affect you emotionally. So let's say, for instance, some people on here, maybe they picked up 5,000 shares, 3,000 shares of Aurora Cannabis at $2. Now you're sitting at 68 cents. Now you're getting very emotional because you've lost so much. But because I've been able to slowly build my position over time, not really dumping in too much money at once, but kind of buying a share here, a share there, I was able to be really patient. And when I kind of saw the bottom in the stock, as I showed you guys on that earlier chart on TradingView, I just think this is TradingView has better charts than Robinhood. So as you can see here, since I saw this is kind of where the buyers seem to be coming in. I don't see too much price action below 59 cents, 60 cents. That's where I came in as well. So right now, by using that strategy, I was able to lower my average cost all the way down to 91 cents, which is what I'm very, very pleased with. I think that having an average purchase price on a nice quality long-term cannabis stock like Aurora Cannabis, I think I'll do very well in the long term with my average price so low. And I'll probably add to this position as well. So now I want to talk about a couple news stories that are running around. The biggest news story is that Aurora Cannabis previous CEO dumped all 12 million of his shares. So it says Terry Booth, founder, one-time CEO of Aurora Cannabis, has just sold 12.2 million shares of the company he once ran. It says, as Aurora Cannabis announced in a press release, Terry Booth filed a report to the system regarding the sale of approximately 12 million shares in connection with previously announced transition of Mr. Booth's role in the company. So why is he selling? Because Booth is leaving the company, wants to cut ties entirely, and therefore selling off his stake in order to make it as clean as cut as possible. Booth remains strategic advisor to the company. So this is obviously not good news when a founder is basically cutting his ties with the company that he previously founded and used to run. This is not great news, guys. So for me, this was kind of a pause. This fact that he's selling off most of his stake and cashing out when he basically held the shares for so long. The only positive sign I see about this is the fact that he didn't sell off the majority of his stake earlier, that he kind of waited until the stock had plunged below $1 to sell off his stake. So this could be an emergency sell, or this could be damage control, or maybe he really wants to just step away from the company altogether. It's really hard to tell exactly what's going on, but let's keep reading the article. So as you can see here, it says, let's keep reading. Yes, Aurora Cannabis chart over the last 12 months, the stock is down 93%. Once again, not great news. But it also says the company lost its chief CEO, followed by an announcement of a restructuring plan, including new ambitious profitability targets that no one seems to have much faith in. It says fact is most analyst estimates still don't see Aurora turning GAAP profitable before 2023. So the company may not make it that long. At last, Aurora Cannabis deeply unprofitable, 1.1 billion loss last year, burning cash, 610 million a year, and mired in debt. So guys, this is probably one of the worst news releases that we could possibly see, probably the worst that we've seen in the entire history of Aurora Cannabis. But there is some positive things about the news release. So it says, Executive Chairman and Interim CEO Michael Singer still insists the board and management remain focused on the plan we laid out in February, and we are progressing as planned towards appropriate capital allocation, balance sheet strength, and profitability. So he also goes on to say, Booth says he's only selling because market volatility with respect to coronavirus and a number of opportunities in the industry led me to taking some cash to the sidelines. I believe many cannabis stocks, including Aurora, are undervalued, and I will be watching present market conditions unfold. I would definitely be considering buying back once the dust settles. So guys, apparently he says he's taking some money off the table because of the current epidemic that is very, very likely to slow down economic spending all over the world. Many stores are shut down, and this has just been a very, very devastating thing for the entire industry. So why am I buying Aurora Cannabis shares? Well, I understand why he wants to take some money off the table. It seems like that people are dumping stocks left and right. Right now, as we're recording the video, it looks like the market's a bit flat. So perhaps we've already lost, basically, as you guys can see up here, we've lost over 10,000, almost 10,000 points on the Dow. So it seems like we don't really know where we're going to go from here. Most likely, we'll probably continue to go south a little bit in the short term. But for me, I'm thinking about Aurora Cannabis within the next 5 to 10 years. And I completely understand why he's taking his money off the table. Perhaps he feels like the stock is going to go lower. Maybe perhaps he gets delisted. There's a lot of things that could be going on, and perhaps he wants to free up some capital for some other investment opportunities, or maybe he has a personal financial crisis. We really don't know. But what we do know is that this is possibly the worst time to sell, because he's basically selling at the stock bottom. So it would have made much more sense if he had sold his shares, even a month ago or a couple months ago. He would have gotten a lot more money for them. But right now, I think this is the worst time to sell shares. If you guys were to sell your shares in Aurora, you should have sold them months ago. Why sell now at such a cheap price? So for me, this is basically who has the guts, the fortitude to hold on, to stay the course on this stock and really see where this goes. So for me, I've ramped up my investment in Aurora Cannabis. I really don't like fire selling stocks like this. I've basically been adding to my position now. Now I have 500 shares, and hopefully the price will stay under around 75 to 80 cents, because I would like to add to my position within the next week or so once I have some more capital coming in. But guys, this is just a really tough time in general, and a lot of stocks are on fire sale. So, my advice, if you're at Aurora Cannabis, this is probably the worst stage the company will ever be in in the entire history of the company. I just can't imagine things getting worse in the future. So if you're willing to hold on, if you're willing to be patient and see how this pans out, you could be handsomely rewarded. I mean, 68 cents a share for one of the biggest marijuana, probably the second biggest in terms of production in the entire world. If you guys are patient, you can be handsomely rewarded. So I've got 500 shares. I plan to add to that. Let's see, I'm only down, as you guys can see, I'm only down 116 bucks. So even if this thing goes to zero, I'll basically lose about, my average cost is $91. So if this thing goes to zero, I guess I'll lose what, about $450. But I don't think it's going to go to zero. I really think that this is just a tough time for all stocks in general, especially marijuana stocks. And I don't want to miss Aurora Cannabis. There's probably two to three stocks that I really don't want to miss. Uber, Aurora Cannabis, and Tesla. So this is kind of one of the three that I'm really, really deeply involved in. I told you guys in videos past I'm going to cover some more cannabis stocks in the future, but I just wanted to update you guys on what I was doing personally with Aurora Cannabis, and hopefully I will be able to add to my position, perhaps pick up 1,000 shares, as I think this stock is grossly undervalued. So let me know what you guys think. I'm actually doing the opposite of the former founder and CEO, which doesn't look like a good sign, but we've seen former founders dump shares before, and the company has gone on to do well in the future. So it really is a case by case basis in this situation. So let me know what you guys are doing Aurora Cannabis. If you guys given up on the stock or you adding to your position, what do you think? Let me know your opinion in the comments. And please guys, give this video a thumbs up and smash the subscribe button if you enjoyed this content. And I'm going to be covering more stuff that I'm going to be doing on cannabis stocks in general, but I just wanted to quickly shoot this video because I want to let you guys know what I've been doing personally with Aurora and my Robinhood. So that's it for now, guys. Thank you so much. And please take care out there. It's a really tough time for everyone all over the world. So my prayers and thoughts are out to you guys. So please stay safe and do what you need to do and follow the protocols that have been outlined for you and your family. So thank you so much for watching and take care.